Most runners train so hard in the gym just to look the exact same. They still have that skinny runner physique. They still have the body that they don't want. They still feel like crap all day and they wonder why. If that's you, then in this video, I'm gonna be breaking out exactly why that is and how to build lean muscle without losing speed. I used to be in that position. I was doing all the right habits, going to the gym 2 to 4 times a week, doing my lifting around my running, not training like a bodybuilder, and I still wasn't making any progress. What I realized was that even though I was eating clean, my energy was still low. I was still feeling like crap after my workouts. So I took a look at my diet and I just wasn't eating enough. So the second I started feeling like a high performing athlete rather than a skinny runner, everything changed. I built 15 pounds of lean muscle. I built my dream body while still running fast times. And after only 1 year of dedicated training to the 5K, I've broken that 17-minute barrier. And by the end of the year in November, I'm now on track to break 16 minutes, my overall high school PR when I was 20 pounds lighter, all the while having all the energy in the world, feeling great, and just super confident altogether. And how this video is gonna work is through this Mario video right here that I made for you, we're gonna be going through some symptoms of undereating to see if you actually are undereating, if that's gonna be the issue. And then we're gonna go over the reasons why you might be undereating, and then finally what to actually do about it so you can finally build muscle as a runner. This picture was taken 4 years ago. I was 135 pounds, underweight. I was fast, running a 5K under 16 minutes at my peak, yet all other areas of my life suffered. My energy was down, my motivation was down. I had all these symptoms that we're gonna go over in a second of redlining. Flash forward to now, about 20 pounds heavier than I was back then, running a 5K under 16:46 in May, and on track to break that 16-minute mark by November, which is insane to think about because I never thought that I could run fast, have the body of my dreams, and still be able to feel great, feel good, and feel confident. I thought I always had to sacrifice one for the other. So the point of this video is to show you how undereating kept me in this state and how eating enough, training the way I do now got me to where I am today, 4 years later. So let's break it down. Most runners underfuel, and runners who add lifting to the mix are even more at risk. So what I mean by that is all that exercise really is just extra movement. And when you add lifting on top of running, which running already burns a lot of calories, lifting is going to burn more calories. So if you're eating the same amount of food as you were with running, then you're going to put your body in more of this like depleted survival state. And when your body is in this survival state, it tells you that it's in there through these different symptoms. And I call them redlining signs. So when you drive, let's say that you're driving like a race car and you put it to its limits and you put it to its like highest RPMs and it starts to like spaz out like the red zone. It's the same thing with running. And I have no idea about cars, but it's the same thing with running and being like an athlete. Like you're putting it through like so much demand, but you're not giving it enough fuel to be able to perform. So your body tells you things like it puts you into like this like low mood, low motivation, energy, low libido. You just feel like crap all day, even if you got like a good night's rest, even if you are eating clean, you're just always feeling tired and sore, and everything just feels like it's plateauing or stalling out. So if you are facing these symptoms, you're just feeling tired all the time, weak, low motivation, more likely than not, undereating is playing a part in this. In terms of the reasons why you are undereating, objectively, number one, total intake is not matching your needs. Like I said earlier, like lifting is just more movement, which means more calories are needed to be able to maintain that, right? To be able to keep up with the demand. You're putting a lot of demand in your body, but you're not giving it like the resources it needs to survive. And the thing about muscle, since this is what you want, is muscle is expensive, right? It requires a surplus in calories to grow. So when you're not giving it that surplus in calories, you're not giving it any ability to grow. So it just decides to go into like this like survival state. And even worse, if you're not getting enough protein too, protein is essential for building that lean muscle tissue. You can eat in a surplus in calories, but more likely than not, that's just probably just gonna convert into fat, if anything. Now, number two, your body is just used to undereating. If you've been doing this for years, right, like long periods of undereating, it's gonna feel normal, right? Like think about some like junkie, right? He didn't start off as a junkie. He started taking drugs, and eventually that becomes his baseline is to take like 2 shots of like heroin a day or whatever junkies do. It's the same thing when you're under eat, right? Like even though it feels normal to like have like a couple meals a day or like you have 3 meals, but it's like literally like a piece of toast or something. It's gonna feel normal, but it won't be optimal for your goals. What's gonna be optimal is eating enough, like giving your body like the resources that it needs. And you get used to like those like redlining symptoms that we like talked about earlier. Like these all begin to feel normal. They begin to feel like a part of life. Like maybe beforehand, before running, you were eating like the same amount of food, and you were feeling good because your body didn't need like that many calories. And then eventually, you start to undereat, you're putting more demand on the body, and you experience those symptoms, and eventually over time it feels normal. And when you're under eating, your body adapts by breaking down the muscle, because again, muscle is expensive. So the first thing it's going to take out is not going to be your belly fat, it's going to be your muscle, because that's taking up a lot of resources. Muscle burns through a lot of calories, which is why it's going to be able to break down the muscle, because your body is efficient, especially when it's in a survival state too. It wants to put on as much fat as possible, but also break down muscle. Reason number 3 is that you're afraid to gain weight. Most runners fear fat gain, right? Because we're always told that any sort of gain is bad. Fat gain is bad, but when you eat in a surplus, that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be overeating, right? If you eat in like a slight surplus in calories, like let's say 200, 400 calories above your maintenance, then you're going to be in a great spot to build muscle. Pair that with like eating like enough protein, which we'll go over in a second. You're rebuilding muscle and also getting faster at the same time. Because again, growth requires a surplus in calories. Fat growth, muscle growth, whatever, requires a surplus. But as long as you eat in a slight lean bulk, like a lean surplus, 200, 400 calories above your maintenance, you'll be in a great spot. And it's going to be hard to get fat as a runner too without intentional eating. Like you're going to have to like put down like a bunch of like fast food or like high caloric foods or like shakes and whatnot to be able to get that fat, especially when you're running higher mileage too. Your body is already burning through a lot of calories and needs a lot to be able to maintain. So when your maintenance is super high, it's hard to get that amount of fat without intentional eating. But it's also hard to get muscle with intentional eating, which is why I made this to-do list for you to do. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go through a 7-day audit. So what that means is for 7 days, you're going to be tracking your food and seeing what you're missing and add on to that. So if you're way under your maintenance, you want to track your food for 7 days, everything that you eat, drink, and whatnot, and then see like, okay, is this going to be enough for me? And more likely than not, it's not going to be enough. And then you want to go out to your maintenance, and once you get to your maintenance, which is pretty much the spot when you're not really gaining or losing weight, you want to add about 200, 400 calories on top of that. So maybe you'll go like see like what's gonna get you, like what kind of food can get you to that point. Maybe it's like bread or peanut butter or something. Like that's usually what I do. And then what you want to do is to make sure you're getting enough protein, right? A lot of people miss out on protein, and that's why they're not building muscle. It's not because sometimes they are eating enough, but they're just not eating enough protein, so that their body isn't recovering. It's not going to be able to build muscle. So a simple rule that you can follow is to eat between 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. I usually eat around like the 145, 155 range, like the higher end, because I put a lot of demand on my body. I'm training for that sub 60-minute 5K, lifting 3 times a week. It's a lot of demand. So I would recommend going into the higher range than anything. But like I put this range here because we're not gonna be perfect. We're gonna have days off, but as long as you average out in this range, you'll be okay. What you also want to do is you want to have go-to meals. So if you don't want to track your food anymore, like I don't like to do, then you want to have go-to meals. Not only is it going to reduce decision fatigue, because I hate personally having to think about like what I'm going to eat and all this stuff. I like having like just like, okay, in the morning I have 4 eggs, and like in the lunchtime I have potatoes and whatnot. Like it's not boring to me. It's more so like it just saves myself like those extra brain points that I can use to filming these videos, to like working on my content and coaching and stuff like that, just putting it to where it matters. So if you're busy, then this is perfect. And if you follow my stories on Instagram, you can see like every single day I have like very similar meals, except for like maybe dinner or like a meal here and there. And last but not least, you don't need to track your macros, but you always want to track for redlining symptoms. So this year I've made it a goal to not track my macros, and it's been so much better. I feel like I'm not obsessing over that as much as I used to. I'm not the guy who brings a scale on vacation anymore. It's fucking lame. And it makes more sense to do. It's easier, right? Like you're not always going to have access to the internet or access to MyFitnessPal and whatnot, but you are going to have access to these symptoms. Like, oh, if my mood is bad, if my motivation, energy, and libido are bad, more likely than not, I need to eat more food. I need to get back to my maintenance. I need to get back to my surplus in calories to build muscle and to feel better. So these are your body's signals, right? Your biofeedback of when you're under eating. And if you get a gist of this, if you know when your body is going down south, it's so much easier than having to track your calories. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not very complicated. You, as a runner who wants to put on muscle, you just have to eat enough.